The city was just beginning to stir when Damien's eyes flickered open again. The first rays of sunlight stretched across the Hudson, painting the water in pale gold, and Elena lay beside him on the cardboard, her navy hoodie pulled tight around her face. She hadn't really slept. Every time a siren wailed in the distance or a gull screamed overhead, she jolted awake, half expecting the black car to return. But Damien was still breathing, still warm beside her, and that was all that mattered. When his gaze found hers, the exhaustion in his eyes was softened by something deeper, something that had nothing to do with survival. "You saved me," he whispered, his voice cracked and weak, but edged with awe. "You don't have to thank me," she said quickly, almost shyly, looking away toward the shimmering water. "Anyone would have done it." "No," he said, forcing himself to sit up despite the sharp ache in his chest. His tuxedo clung to him like a second skin, still damp from the river. "Anyone else would have walked away. You jumped." That was the first moment they really looked at each other without fear clouding their faces. The silence stretched between them, heavy but not uncomfortable, filled with a strange recognition neither of them could explain. Damien's heart thudded with more than relief. Elena, with her messy hair tucked under her hood and her shoes barely holding together, had the kind of bravery money couldn't buy. She broke the moment by fussing over him, pulling her hoodie sleeves down to rub some warmth into his arms. "You need a hospital. Or at least a doctor. You could have drowned." "I can't," he said quickly, grabbing her hand as though the mere suggestion of leaving her terrified him. "Not yet. Not until I figure out how deep this goes." "What are you talking about?" she asked. And so, with his voice low and halting, Damien told her everything: the inheritance, the empire built by his late father, the envy of his brothers who never forgave him for being the chosen heir. How they smiled at him in public and plotted against him in shadows. How last night had been their final move: lure him into the car with a fabricated meeting, tie him like a trophy deer, and dump him into the river like garbage. By the time he finished, Elena's hands were clenched tightly in her lap. "They're your own blood," she whispered. "How could they?" "Money makes wolves of men," he said bitterly. "And my brothers have been hungry for too long." The enormity of it pressed down on them both, but Elena's spirit didn't bend. She sat straighter, her eyes fierce in a way Damien hadn't expected. "Then you're not going back there. Not until you've got proof. If you walk through those doors now, they'll try again, and maybe next time I won't be around." He smiled faintly at that, a weary curve of his lips. "So you're saying you'll keep saving me?" "I guess I am," she said, and the truth in